Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the St. Louis podcast. I'm your glorious host today, Eric Brown, sitting next to Chris Reisner. Today we have Giovanni Falco on the St. Louis podcast, and we're going to get into the weeds with him and his business. But before we do, this is the St. Louis podcast. Long-winded. We're each and every Friday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We drop an episode on all major podcasting, audio, and video platforms where we meet with the most badass people and creators to talk about business, entrepreneurship, and current events. Let's jump into it. How you doing today?
Great, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I think that was the fastest you've ever gotten through that.
Let's talk about all the misspellings in that.
All right. Like I said, Giovanni Falco, owner of Biltong Billy, fully FDA-approved small business, best nutritional biltong around the USA.
That is correct.
So what exactly is biltong?
That's a great question. That was my first question, so take it away.
No problem. So pretty much biltong, the longevity of biltong and the history behind it is a South African air-dried meat snack. Where it came from was literally what happened was the Europeans and the Dutch came and settled about 300 to 400 years ago in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened, they had about a 3 to 6 week ship travel that they had to figure out how they can just preserve meats, vegetables. So their best and most, seems like the smartest way to do it was to air dry pretty much all their meat, all their vegetables, and then it gained a 12-month lifespan where they could actually preserve the meat to have it on the ship rides. From there, over the last 300 to 400 years, South Africa has become the main producer of this product worldwide. If you look all around the world outside of the States, pretty much in Mexico, Europe, Australia, Europe's by far, and on the whole of Africa, this product is the jerky product that everyone else eats. So pretty much as a good example of this, it's kind of like rugby and football, how kind of USA said, no, we're going to play football while the rest of the world goes and plays rugby.
Yep.
It was the same thing. Everybody else did air dried, and you guys went cooking and putting it in a bag over 12 hours and shoving it on the shelves, which I fully understand because you guys have 350 million Americans to feed. So I get why you guys have to mass produce things. But this
is that the big difference between jerky and...
Yeah, the main difference is that jerky is produced over 12 hours in an oven. You throw your preservatives on, sugars, carbs.
Okay.
What we do is we preserve the meat and air dry it over 12 to 14 days.
Interesting.
So what that does is this is where we can maintain 16 grams of protein per ounce. I don't think there is a snack on the shelf that holds this amount of protein. We have natural creatine. We host all the omega fats, which is all the good fats for us. Which, if people know anything about omega fats, the only place you find it is your eyes and brain, because that's how important this is for us. And then we have no sugars and truly no carbs, and then we get to host 30 to 50% more protein because of the air drying and production of the product. So that's pretty much biltong for you in a quick 2-minute skit.
What do you think about people that say red meat is unhealthy?
Do some research. I think that red meat is, it's got its bash over the last decade, I would say, 10 years of everybody bashing red meat. And now they're going after the cow farts is the next step with what's going on. I mean, they're literally carbon taxing all our farmers right now. And if they don't pay their tax, it looks like they're going to kill the cows like it's a property. So it's pretty much, it is. It has taken a beating. Red meat has taken a beating. But if you go look up what red meat's doing in the North American space as well as worldwide, they're expecting a $19 billion market worldwide over the next 5 years. And North American market will capture $9 billion of that. And that growth is coming over 5 years because I think there's been a turnaround with how much creatine we need naturally, how much omega fats, how much protein we need, and no sugars and no carbs, and truly no sugars and no carbs, and we're not just hiding it on the label.
Everyone just believe the cardiovascular side of things. It's like, oh, it leads to heart attacks. It's like...
Yes, if you eat it 8 times a week, every week, maybe...
I don't even think then.
So we actually have got a pretty good indication on how jerky can give heartburn to a lot of people. We know that this exists.
That's preservatives and shit, right?
Preservatives, sugar, carbs, that's what that does. And then with us, we've actually tested this with people that said, no, I can't eat this. We got older people, more like 70 plus, that tend to not eat jerky anymore because of the heartburn. Right, we have captured all of that age range, all of them. Because there's no heartburn, there's no sugars, no carbs, no preservatives. We've got 5 ingredients per pack. I mean, where you turn a jerky bag around, you've got 9 grams of protein in a 2.25.
Yeah.
And then you've got, where we got 32 grams in a 2 ounce. And then you've got 15 extra ingredients that they've added that we don't even know how to spell these terms or even say them. So I think this is the big difference where we're coming now and capturing huge retail market and definitely the St. Louis market and Missouri market for sure.
Where can they find you right now? And are you in stores and locations?
Yeah, so we have 15 retailers currently in local St.
Okay.
Louis. So we're in all 4 Straub stores. We're in United Provisions. That's our grocery center.
Nice, yep.
Then we are feeding all of the Major League Soccer athletes in the training center.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, it's awesome, man. To get athletes like this, and then for that to refer to the Olympic team,
Mhm.
and we're actually feeding all the soccer Olympic guys at their camps as well.
Hell yeah.
This is now even more market research for us to prove. And again, these guys that are ordering this now are nutritionists. These aren't like the athletes saying, "Hey, we just want this snack." It's the athletes maybe putting us forward initially, but then it's getting going through a corporate chain that's having to literally make sure that we have what we say we have, and then for the Olympic team to come back as well. I mean, this is awesome. These are guys that have been in the nutritional market for 15 years, and they're saying we've never heard of a product like this before. So it's awesome to see.
What were you doing before this?
Before this, I was a logistics sales guy
Okay.
working for a company called Priority One. Shout out to them. Great company. If you're looking for logistics in St. Louis, please go hit up a 3PL.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me. I pretty much was, when I started the company before this, let me go back. We have to go kind of a little bit
Yeah.
back here.
Yep.
Started the company in 2019. I was actually sitting in post-grad doctorate school
Okay.
and doing chiropractic. I was about 4 to 5 quarters in. So I was pretty deep into the program. And my wife came, we got married, and she came down, and within about a 60 to 90 day period, she was even starting to turn around and say, "Hey man, I'm watching you go to class and come back with like $70 after 8 hours because you're selling more biltong in the back of the classroom than you're listening in the class."
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of one of those things where I was like, man, you know what? You've got a good point. Like I'm making $10, $15 a class. I've got a way more passion with this. And then the market that it showed me. I mean, when I started doing research behind just air dried in America, and I saw nothing in 2017, nothing in 2018. And then a first USDA approved facility that came out, I was like, okay, I got to seriously think, I got to go into this. I got to see what I can do. I got to start selling. I got to start seeing what the market brings. I need to hit the streets. I need to hit hundreds of farmers markets. I need to start seeing people's faces around the product to see if I've actually got something.
Yep.
Once I knew I had it in 2019, I went full time.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, okay. So what originally brought you to Biltong? Like what originally was, so you said you started on the side, but why did you decide on a food
Yeah.
out of all things? Because food, you have to go through how many loopholes to get that stuff with packaging,
Yep.
with FDA and everything else. There's so many loopholes to create a company like that. Why that?
100%. Again, like I mentioned earlier, where the history of this product comes from is South Africa. I was born and bred South African. I only moved here when I was almost 21.
Okay.
So I'm fully South African that moved across, and Lindenwood University gave me a good rugby scholarship to come over. So shout out to Lindenwood.
Okay, yeah.
Shout out Lindenwood.
Yeah.
Yep.
I went to Lindenwood also.
Let's go. What year? What year did you graduate?
2018.
2018? Nice. 2018.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
2015 to 2018. Awesome.
There we
man.
go.
Like, glad to see you.
Shout out.
But yeah, so great school, great rugby program. So anyone internationally that's looking for a scholarship, I'm telling you now, Lindenwood Rugby is awesome. Shout out to Josh Macy.
I just saw Lindenwood's cutting a shitload of athletic programs though.
Yeah, they have. I don't necessarily know the reason because I started to like dig
Yeah.
in a little bit on info like
They
this.
they like dropped like it was a ton.
Ton,
It was
but-
like 6 to 10 different like sports. I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell is going on?
I
I
personally
don't know if
think,
Lindenwood's hurting for enrollment or
I think
I
they're
don't-
hurting for money, and with their scholarships, pretty much every athlete there was getting like a full scholarship.
yes,
And they've got a huge international
market.
yeah.
Massive. I mean, I can't tell you. This is the way I describe Lindenwood sports. It's very easy. Every American sport traditionally not good at, but every single other international sport like soccer, rugby, pool, shooting, table tennis, Olympians, like literally Olympians, the best in the country is coming out of Lindenwood University. So
there's
they
a
have,
billiards team?
table tennis, the pool,
Yeah,
they've
pool.
got shooting, all of it. Like
Interesting.
Olympians
They've
coming
got
out of it.
literally everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all the other sports, right?
I
So
didn't know that they
yeah.
offered pool. Shit, I would have went to Lindenwood for some pool. That'd be awesome.
Awesome, dude. And they're the only school as well to, I think, as far as I know, I don't know if this is still true, but back in our time when we arrived, it was the only school in America that offered pageant girls scholarships as well. So
Interesting.
they've kind of gone on all the other aspects.
Oh, that explains. I had a pageant girl once as a partner for a.
Yeah. Well, it's the Miss Missouri is actually held at Lindenwood on campus. It's held at the music center that they have, or the arts center. So
yeah,
it's held there
Spelman
every
Center.
year.
I didn't
Yep.
know that.
Yep, that's it.
What are pageant girls?
Like they do pageants, like beauty pageants.
Beauty pageants.
Okay.
So,
So
pretty
why are
much
they going to school though for it?
they get scholarships. If you're a teenager and you do a Miss Teen, anything, and you get in the top 25, Lindenwood will offer
Interesting.
you scholarships.
Interesting.
It's the only college I think in the States, as far as I know, that does it. Pretty nutty.
Yeah, so I did my psychology final with Miss Lake of the Ozarks.
Nice. There we go.
She did not help very much.
Yeah. Most of it's going to be the other way around. Right? You're going to be helping them. It's not going to be.
Yeah, so, you know.
That's hilarious.
But an
Yeah.
awesome school. Awesome school, man. I know that they're going through a little bit of budget cutting. Again, behind the curtain, it actually could be the complete opposite of what we actually think. They might be actually cutting down to say we need to start funding more of the rugby program, the soccer program, and the football program that's starting to take off, because these are the sports that are winning. And rugby program has won D1 national men's. We went to Worlds in 2016.
Interesting. Yeah.
We were a very, very big program.
Why don't we pay attention to rugby in the States? What is it?
It's the eighth sport.
It's
That's why it's like eighth on the log.
It's an awesome sport, though.
Awesome sport. I think it's personally the best sport in the world. I mean, you can't compare any other sport. Notepads, a gum guard, and boots.
I mean,
I
see TikToks of it all the time.
Yep.
Definitely prefer that over football.
It's growing, though. I mean, it's got its major league now. The major league's been up and running for about 4 seasons, maybe 5, as far as I know. And, they've got, MLR teams in all the big states. I mean, they've got it in California. They've got 2 teams now up in LA. So
There's Major League Rugby?
There's Major League. Yeah, you see? There's Major League
I
Rugby.
didn't even know this.
Didn't even know it. So
Okay.
So Major League, you got to get your marketing correct, because we need Americans to know about it.
No doubt.
No doubt. Yeah, it's a great sport. And it's kind of like the way I do it.
What time of the year is it?
It starts right now. It's just started. They had their first, I think, their second game.
Is there a St. Louis team?
Nearly. We got a local. We
that's
got a couple
really
clubs
like nobody cared about soccer in St. Louis until
they came here.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone likes soccer. We're like one of the biggest soccer towns.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, soccer is big, yes, but there's definitely been an increase since City showed up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
St. Louis supports any sport that comes here, especially any international sport, and that's why we almost had a rugby MLR that came here, but Chicago got the bid. So Chicago won, they got the bid, and then Kansas City and St. Louis missed out. So we're still looking for Missouri.
Well, rugby was big when I was in high school. I think did it start becoming big in like the 2000s? Like I feel when I graduated in 2011, and it was like all of the big high schools had decent rugby teams here in St. Louis.
They still got it. I mean, let me tell you, it's kind of become kind of outrageous how big rugby has exploded. Again, it's kind of very similar to our product. It's just all behind the curtain. No one really knows about it yet, but then there's like this 5 to 10% that knows about it, and they're all supporting it. So rugby it started, I would say, early 2000s. It started when the USA team started really, putting a lot of funding towards their program. And then not only that, the school system started doing it. I mean, again, full ride scholarships to a South African, and Australians and New Zealanders and Europeans. And then they teach the American guys at a younger age how to compete at a higher level. And now all of a sudden you got Americans from the age of, 16, 17 playing real rugby.
Yep.
This is now starting, I would say, early 2000s. But the biggest blow that I saw in the sport was when I was at Lindenwood. I mean, we weren't televised at all. I mean, college rugby was not televised. 2015 when I arrived, it just exploded. I mean, I still got a post on my social media. You can check ESPN. We had Fox. CRCs were held on all these channels. Now even the finals for the D115s is held on TV and on Fox. So I think slowly but surely we kind of where soccer was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
that's where rugby's at.
I feel like the biggest thing is you got to be in the right part of the season, because right now, I mean, you don't really have much after the NFL stops. You got the NBA playoffs coming, but like you got March Madness and things like that. But really, right now, you don't have a lot.
No, and this is the problem with rugby is they're finding a very hard time to find when we can actually air this, because when are you going to air it? You're going to compete with hockey, you're going to compete with baseball, you're going to compete with NFL. I mean, kids are looking at wrestling and anything else before they look at rugby still today. So we got to get like the average 12-year-old to say, hey, I don't want to play football, I want to go and play rugby, or hey, I don't want to play soccer now, because I think soccer's like in the top 5 now.
Yeah.
And UFC, MMA, that's even in the top 5 or 6. So it's like almost 7 sports are above us.
Yep.
Until that changes, I think then rugby will really take off. But again, 10 to 15 years, I would say, is a good timeline before we start seeing that.
I just feel like with rugby, I just don't I've watched it plenty of times, and people tell me the rules every time, and for some reason, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're definitely not.
Is it confusing, or am I just dumb?
If you've never watched rugby must be one of the most confusing sports on earth. It's like football to me in the beginning. I mean, I just never understood why you guys would. You guys are amazing athletes, and don't let any rugby player tell you that they're a better athlete than a footballer, because it's the other way around. When it comes to the 5-second burst, no one beats an NFL athlete.
Yep.
In a 0 to 5 seconds, nobody.
Mhm.
And then, endurance-wise, I would say the rugby player starts to, take over.
100%, yeah.
100%. And I've
Yeah.
seen this in transition athletes I've literally had NFL players play with us. We've had wrestlers come over, and man, their cardio is just not even close to a rugby player. But that 0 to 5 second burst, that 40-yard dash, sideways movement, unbelievable.
That's
The
why I'm
NFLs.
always amazed at the big rugby players. It looks like they're bodybuilders and they're running around like they're soccer players on the field. And I'm
Yeah,
like, this
yeah.
is incredible.
Almost every player is under like a 225 pound, like everybody is like under 230, I would say. Like the minimum has to be, even like your biggest players are sitting like under 230 because the endurance of 80 minutes
Yeah.
and non-stop and constant flow. And so how rugby works is the only time rugby stops is when there's a mistake. In football, you just have to get the guy down and then the whole thing stops.
Yeah,
Go get
yep.
your water, talk to the coach, all that. It doesn't happen in rugby. It's like until there's an actual physical mistake, someone dropped the ball, someone kicked the ball out, then it stops. But until then, you could go 30, 40, 50 phases, almost 6-7 minutes with just non-stop play. And that can burn you. It can burn you a lot.
Rugby's wild. We need to get a rugby team. That'd be awesome.
We do have 2 clubs. So we have the Royals and we do
Okay.
have the St. Louis Bombers. So shout out to those guys as well. They're 2 incredible rugby programs that have been in St. Louis for quite a long time.
Where do they play at?
As far as I know, they're out of Forest Park, and
Okay.
they kind of follow parks that just allow them to come in every season. They're 2 clubs, so they're 2 smaller clubs. But
Gotcha.
the Bombers have gone D1, so I mean they're a
Interesting,
D1
okay.
men's club. So yeah,
That's
pretty
awesome.
One thing that I think St. Louis City did really well that rugby should probably pay attention to is like going to a soccer game's like an event. And they've put a lot of money too into the area directly around the stadium.
Yep.
And I think that's what you really got to do with rugby because I used to go to like arena.
Well, rugby
football
now
games.
also has a stadium they can use.
Yeah.
The soccer stadium.
Potentially, yeah. We just need a 9 full. The thing is, you got to fill that stadium.
Yes.
For this to
Yeah.
make sense. This is the problem with the MLR right now. If you go look at the crowd attendance, it's like 5,000.
Yeah.
But you're playing out of the Coliseum in LA.
Sure.
That can fit 70,000.
Yeah, that's an issue.
And that's a huge issue. So that's the problem. I think sometimes the major league is jumping a little bit ahead of the gun. I think they need to kind of slow it down, go back to colleges. Why don't you just use college campuses? I mean, those stadiums are just as good. They fit 10 to 20,000 fans, and that's where you're going to probably max out anyways. So I think that's pretty much good advice for them is to start looking at the colleges because those stadiums are already up and running.
Yep.
And 2, they can start acting as feeders straight into the program. And those players and colleges will definitely come out and watch a major league game. There's no ways they won't.
That's a good point. It's a good idea. Major League, rugby, shout out. Listen to the advice we're giving you guys. This is free advice. We're not going to bill you. Chris, what questions do you have for the man?
So one thing that I thought was really interesting, whenever you got started, how did you handle all of the regulations and everything?
Yeah.
Because I know, with anything that you're doing in your house, especially with meat, they're very, very strict.
Yes, the USA is probably the most strict. USDA approvals, FDA approvals, then you need to get, just the facility, like to get a co-packer up and running probably takes about 2 years of inspections. So to have a manufacturing facility in the States was already an accomplishment that this South African air-dried steak known as Biltong actually leaped over. We were already accomplishing something very big by getting a USDA approved facility in here. From 2017, when that happened, we've now got 4, if not 5 facilities on the way. So, this is how big this product's got behind the curtain. But to get to your question on USDA and FDA approval, USDA didn't even know where to approve this product in 2017. They thought we were salami. This is how crazy this is. We're so new to the market.
Yeah,
We're so new that we don't even have enough market research for them to say, what is this?
So there wasn't even like a category for him.
There wasn't even a category. So, I don't even think kitchen approvals was even happening back in like the 2010, 2012 when Biltong actually was here, just like with a domain in New York. But we were shipping like containerfuls of Biltong to try and sell at an astronomical price. So to get a USDA approved facility was the hardest and longest time, But when it comes to us, I started with a little 2 computer fans. I was making the product myself first, and I was just feeding it to my rugby friends. It wasn't anything that I needed approvals or anything like that for. But once I started selling out every single week, and I was literally walking 2 miles with 50 pounds of meat, stealing trolleys and trying to push them over the line so I could take a trolley, like no joke. I started seeing what I saw, and then I just started understanding that we have to get USDA approved. We need to get FDA approved, and I need to start finding facilities that I can start hitting up. And that's when they came, and we were one of their first customers out in North Carolina. And ever since then, we've done really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So you partnered up with a facility to be able to do this.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what would you say is like the most important thing you learned when you were starting your business?
Mark Cuban says it best. You don't need capital to start a business, right?
Mhm.
You don't need, any money to start a company. I think you're going to get 100% sales through effort, through determination, through branding, through awareness, through passion. I think you're going to gain those initial sales that can actually start your business. I think after that, I started realizing that just like anything, you put a seed in the ground, you're going to start to need water. And
Mhm.
water is that capital. And I think that's after about a year or two, you're going to start realizing in business, oh, I might need an investor. Oh, I might need to start saving up money, maybe in my corporate job, then get out, save as much as I need over a year or 2 year period and start to actually push the business. So I think my biggest advice for anyone starting a business, 1, you do not need capital. 2, you just need to start. And once you start showing people passion, drive, and determination,
Mhm.
people are going to start purchasing. Then you got to save. Then you got to start understanding that capital is going to be your water for your plant. So that's my biggest advice on starting a business. It's something I realized immediately. Within the first 12 months, I started realizing that.
How many people do you think have a business like you did, or a similar business that you did when you were in school, and they are still on the wall of taking the dive and actually doing it full time or making it a real thing?
I don't know. I haven't found. I literally said this to my parents not too long ago. I said, man, I have yet to find a guy that's under 30 years old that's trying to push a retail product.
Mhm.
That's actually like either they're producing it or they're the middleman of a producer of it, but they actually are branding something and they're pushing something on the retail shelves. I've yet to find an under 30-year-old. So if there's anybody listening or want to phone me, please give me
Yeah.
a call, and I'd love to become friends with you and understand what you're doing and bounce some ideas off each other, because I genuinely don't see anybody in the retail space like this under 30. I've yet to see
Interesting.
it.
That is interesting.
And
Retail, I
especially
mean, retail's just hard to get into, and then you've
Very
got to
tough.
have connections.
Yeah.
connections you got to have, and then you got to actually have a product that's actually going to sell. Remember, that's key. I mean, everybody, turnover is going to come from the product. It's not going to necessarily come from always just marketing and sales and shouting.
Everyone
what you
doing
have.
retail right now has a brand.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about, Mr. Beast. We talked about him last week, but all of the actors and actresses, I mean, The Rock, all of those people have a product. And
Why though? Why do they have a product? This is the question that I think youngsters need to listen to. Why do these guys have a product?
yeah,
Because they go direct to the consumer and they
Yeah.
get to get 100% commission on that deal.
and
That's why.
that's who we don't want to buy from some corporation. We want to buy from a person that we like.
Yes.
So
And
you already
trust.
have the following. You
Yep.
already have the brand built behind you. All you have to do is release. I feel like a lot of these guys, they just go to, some sort of liquor company. They have, they have like 10 different bottles ready to go. And they're like, just choose one. We'll throw your name on it and we'll get you out there.
I mean, you can tell that's what they do with like the energy drink space, because there's
same with that.
it's
yeah.
all
Um,
the exact same can with varying levels of how good the label actually fits the can.
Yeah. So this is the ladder that I've been taught. Is it says, sales is at the bottom, right? If you can
Mhm.
sell, fantastic, but that's not going to like make or break your business necessarily. It's going to go sales, then it's going to go marketing, and then it's going to be branding.
Mhm.
Branding is king. If you can brand, it means that you got the marketing and sales down. If you make a sell, it doesn't necessarily mean you have marketing, but marketing brings sales.
Yep.
But branding brings marketing and sales. So if you know how to brand yourself, know how to brand an idea, it literally your world's your oyster, because the moment that happens and you got that branding aspect down, now it's just connecting with the customer direct, having the distribution leg of your product,
Mhm.
and that's it. I mean, it is that simple. It just sometimes people think that it's a lot harder than things are. I mean, things are sometimes tough, but sometimes when you dive into it, you find out it's actually not as hard as you think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like that's how it always is.
Mhm.
Anytime you procrastinate in business, think something is super impossible or it's going to take forever, and maybe it does, but it always ends up being usually easier than you think it is in the long run.
That's it.
And it
We
gives you a lot more freedom.
get
Yeah.
caught up in that all the time. I feel like at Vi.
Yeah.
We have that one hard thing to do. We're like, that can wait. That can wait. What easy thing can we knock out today?
We're trying to change that.
Yeah.
That's right. We're working on that.
That's right. So where do you see your company in, the next year or two?
Yeah. So with our local retailers, obviously that's fantastic. We love any brand that wants to work with us locally, and we will work with you and make it happen. The thing is now we got to start focusing on retailers and volume on a mass scale. And I can happily announce today, especially on your guys' podcast, in about 3 weeks, we will be announcing the rollout to Hux Food and Fuel, all 131 gas stations.
Hell yeah.
That is awesome.
Shout out. Shout out Hux. That's dope.
Yeah, shout out to Randy Adams. He's been a big supporter of me and our product. And we did get him in 2020, but that was disastrous what happened there.
Sure.
So it was a very, very bad indication of how we can do on the shelves. And we now are officially now in all 131. As far as I know, they also have a rollout of, I think, 10 gas stations that they're going to be putting up over the next 7 years. So they should be at 200 gas stations very soon. So it's awesome to see.
I was actually wondering that because Hux has at least the Hux in St. Louis has an entire section for beef jerky and all of that, and obviously you guys fit perfectly.
And the cool thing is about them too is they actually are the biggest meat sale snacks convenience store in Missouri.
Oh,
so
wow.
they sell the most meat snacks out of all convenience stores in Missouri. As far as I know, it should be Illinois as well, but I know it's Missouri. They kill it in the meat snack market because they got a trucking station.
Yep.
They come in and those truckers come and buy 10 bags at a time. They don't buy one. They don't joke around. They've got an 18-hour trip.
Yep.
These guys are going to be eating some jerky. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Shout out if you're going on a road trip, make sure you stock up.
Please do.
So I did want to ask, as far as with the product, you said obviously there's a lot of health benefits compared to beef jerky, and I've never really liked beef jerky, to be honest, because there's always been something about it that's off-putting.
Yeah.
I can't even put my finger on what it is. It's just,
I think I know what it is.
some of it's good, but a lot of it is not great at all.
This is what's jerky done. Jerky, the whole jerky market has capped themselves. They've got to a point now where they cannot produce another product. Like they now are going to mushrooms.
Sure.
They're going to turkey. They're going to fish now in Alaska to make fish jerky.
Ew.
So they are genuinely.
That sounds terrible.
That doesn't sound too good. Yeah. I don't.
I had
don't
chicken
like
jerky the other day. That was pretty good.
Yeah. The chicken strip jerky, it's actually not bad at all. It's actually really good. I don't bash jerky. Don't get me wrong. I love jerky. I think it's a great product. I mean, it's something that you can produce really fast. You can put it in a bag and you still get 9 to 12 grams of protein. Per pack, not per ounce, but per pack. Right now, you got to get away from the sugars and carbs. Unfortunately, I don't think jerky can do that. And even if they do, if you go taste a 0 sugar jerky, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not at all. And it's an undercut price of jerky. So it's just a worse product.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Where we are a more premium product, we are going to always sell that way. And we are definitely not going to undercut the price. We have a 12-day production. They have 12 hours. So we're going to have a different cost associated to our product. So we're more premium. I mean, and it shows in our nutrition, it shows in our ingredients.
It shows in your packaging.
It shows in
your packaging looks fantastic.
Thank you. And I got to shout out my wife for that because Olivia, she has killed it when it comes to marketing and helping out with. She's been like almost my little American that I kind of use. And I say, "What do you think about this? And taste this," and I literally watch her face and watch everything she does because I'm like, "That's what you guys are going to do." So it's like, it's a good little partnership we got going here. It's awesome. And she came up with the white packaging. She was like, "I think it will introduce the simplicity of the product." I was like, "Damn!" I mean,
I feel like jerky's all red.
Yeah, it's all red, all black, all purple, yellows, but there's never clean white, and then the red, white, and blue that we've stuck with as well with the American banner.
Yeah,
I think this
or they're in those sketchy plastic bags,
see-through bags that just undercut.
It doesn't look good.
And it's just cheaper. Yeah,
I mean, they shove as much as they can onto the bag too.
100%.
It's always
and to get back to that question with jerky, I like to say it this way: they've done a fantastic job of producing a good meat snack, but in every other retail industry that I've seen or product, this is what I've seen. I've seen a Coke and then a Coke Zero. Then I've seen a white milk chocolate and then I've seen dark chocolate. I've seen ice cream, then I've seen yogurt. So there's always this second option that is produced differently, but in the same industry. And unfortunately, jerky's never had that. They've gone to mushrooms and plants and turkey and fish, but have literally yet to forget that you can just air dry the product. And then you got a whole new meat snack on the shelves. And that's where we've come in tremendously. And that's my biggest shout out is just to get people to know that we are even here. I think about 1% of America will know the word biltong or know that air-dried steak is even a snack. I don't even think they know that. So that's our biggest, I would say, education struggle right now is the fact that we need to go and capture 350 Americans or million Americans that we need to know the product.
Interesting.
So what's stopping the big companies from doing it? Is it just the process and how long it takes?
And education. I mean, yeah, here's a great example. I don't want to speak too soon, but we have signed the deal with this company. I mean, not only Huck's Food and Fuel, this is huge for us. 130 gas stations. I mean, that's massive. But we've spoken to Amcon Distributing. I mean, these guys have 1,100 retailers that they've given us in writing that they're looking at rolling out to very soon.
Nice.
So, I mean, we're talking 1,100 retailers overnight. So, and every meeting that I sit in, every single one that I sit in with, I'm talking VPs of purchasing, CEOs, COOs, CFOs, they don't know what it is. They have no idea what this product is.
So is the first question always, what is Biltong?
What is it? Yeah, literally, what is it? And how do you host this much grams of protein?
Yeah.
Because we even had the Olympic team mention to us, is there any 1 ounce bags that we could get? Because we think the protein aspect is a little bit too much for our athletes to eat in one full sitting.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you still have about 7 days once you open it. So you can zip it up and close it up and eat it tomorrow.
Sure.
But I mean, we actually almost got too much protein. How crazy is that? I mean, yeah. So
that's a good problem to have.
it's a great problem to have. And this is the pitch I give them. I say, guys, my biggest pitch is I'll rock up with my bags. I'll bring a couple bags of jerky. And I'll say, look at those ingredients. Look at ours. Look at their nutritional aspects. Look at ours. And then look at the packaging. And I say, you guys make the decision.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the decision for you. I'm not going to force you to buy my product. I'm just going to tell you facts and stats. And I think the honest sell today is definitely working. I think people are so tired of just people saying, oh, we have no sugars, no carbs, and we're a much better protein snack. And then it actually lands up having all the carbs and sugars just hidden on the label. I think people are tired of that. I think people are looking for an honest sell, an honest product, and something that we can back it up with. Just turn the bag around, eat the product. You can taste the cleanliness. You can taste the softness. That softness comes from air drying.
Yeah.
And that does not come from cooking.
Yeah, maybe that's my thing with jerky. It just tastes fake.
It's tough. You have to almost like
it just tastes fake.
Yep.
So, okay, can you buy it online?
Correct. Yes. So you can go on biltongbilly.com.
Okay.
You can purchase online.
Is there a minimum order or one bag? Can you ship it out? Doesn't matter.
Anything you want.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll make anything work. So if you need one bag or 10,000 packs, you just let me know.
Perfect.
I imagine retail is probably your biggest channel, though.
It is. It's funny though you say that, because a lot of people think that going into like a Walmart would be the best idea. But I think that sometimes
people still have to buy it.
People still have to buy it, number one, and people aren't going to recognize your product if you're not branding it the correct way.
Yeah.
So here's a great example. Did you guys know what the word biltong even was before today?
No. And I've seen a bunch of social media posts from you too before, not specifically from you, but people talking about Biltong Billy.
Yes. Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah. And that's the thing, so even the name Billy, Biltong Billy. I mean, I tried to even get half the word of biltong almost pronounced. So Billy is like almost like a small acronym for half the word. So I can try and get the education out there, how to pronounce the word, what the word is, and maybe to get away from the word in a sense. Because I've got a lot of people that I go to events and say, yo, what's up, Billy? Where's my chili Billy? Where's my traditional Billy? Where's the stick Billy? So I've kind of changed the momentum of getting away from biltong and then maintaining air-dried steak as the upfront packaging, like that's what we advertising, because that's what the product is.
Yeah.
And you guys understand that. And I've done 150 farmers markets. I've probably done about 300 vending events. And I've seen people's faces when I put the word biltong up front, they will not come to me. And the moment I changed this packaging to air-dried steak, I had people from a quarter mile reading it and saying, I'm coming straight to you to go and taste that.
No one knows what biltong is.
No one knows what that word is. So I think that was actually the biggest problem we had for the last 7 years, ever since we...
just no one knows what it is.
No one knows what it is. Every brand is still selling the word biltong, and we're not putting the word air-dried steak up front, and then the American market's just going to go straight past it. So sometimes retail isn't necessarily the best thing to do because your brand doesn't have the awareness yet, or the product's not being sold the correct way. So we had to kind of do that market research over the last 3 years, and that's why now we're starting to see retailers say, hey, you know what? You might be onto something, because behind the curtain, if you look at the market, I mean, it's only going up.
Yeah.
So it's now just a matter of these big retailers, distributors actually knowing that it is selling. And now we're starting to see this turnover on the retail shelves, and now we can approach these guys.
How do you make sure you get good shelf space?
This is something I got to figure out now, because I found this out. It's everything that I'm doing in the business sense and entrepreneurial world. I'm finding out as I'm going. It's not like I sat here and said I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was actually wanting to become a doctor. So it was a complete just switch up overnight. Everything I'm doing, I'm learning. I'm realizing that shelf, where you get put on the shelf as well, is vitally important. If you're too high, no one's going to grab you. If you're too low, no one's looking at you. So you almost need to be an eye level. But what's eye level? 5'9", 6'1". These are the things you have to start to learn on the shelf. You're only going to learn this once you're in the store, because some stores, believe it or not, people are tall.
Yeah.
They can grab it. You know, some like United Provisions, they put us up a little higher, but they got Wash U and they got the basketball players that come through and they got all these big guys that come through and they can grab it. But if you're in a store where, you know, the average height of the person is under 6 foot, it's not going to be good if you're sitting at a 6'2" shelf.
Yep.
It's just not going to look good.
That's true. So what is it? Just negotiation with those people?
Yep. And how often we sell, you know,
Okay.
that's how serious the retailer will take you. I mean, if you're doing a turnover of 20%, I mean,
Sure.
no one's going to take you seriously. But if you're doing 84%, 90%, now all of a sudden these guys are going to be like, hey, we're making good money with these guys.
What do you mean by 84, 90%?
So if you order 100 packs, you
Okay.
don't flip.
Okay.
You flip 20%, that's not good. But you
Gotcha.
flip at 84% in a 30, 60-day period,
Okay.
it's starting to look a lot better for them to say, hey, let's push the product, let's market the product, and let's get this off the shelves.
So is that usually why you would want to start with less? Like
Yes.
you wouldn't, it's not like you would want to, you know, we'll ship a 10,000 out to every store because you'd want to, if you're going after that percentage, you know, make those numbers in your favor.
Yep.
And, you know, maybe a couple, whatever it is, a couple hundred or whatever.
Yeah, no, and on top of that, it's not every store. Like, again, you could go into, you would think you would kill it in this international market.
I was going to ask that. Yep.
And then you don't.
Interesting.
You don't, because maybe they are more of a Japanese, Chinese international,
Sure.
Korean. And now all of a sudden, you know, you're not.
Where's
as
the South
favored.
African one?
Yeah, well, Global Food Store, United Provisions.
Okay,
Those are the
okay.
two that we've got, and they're
Yeah.
awesome. They got all South African products as well, so it's really cool to be in
Okay.
their stores.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our sponsor, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee. Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance is recruiting agency owners here in St. Louis.
That's right, Garrett. And everyone knows what Farmers Insurance is. And if they don't, they will now.
Yes, it's kind of a household name. That said, as many of you know, a large part of our audience is made up of badass business owners, entrepreneurs, and top producing sales professionals with an open mind like yourself. Farmers Insurance is currently searching for driven individuals who aspire to own their own business or already own their own business and want to add another income stream to join the Farmers Insurance brand and own their own insurance agency.
This is a stellar opportunity to build your own insurance agency from scratch, take over an existing agency, or if you're just a slow roller, we know you the guys out there and ladies, get paid to train under an existing successful agency owner before starting your own.
Holy shit, Eric. That means that whether you have experience as a business owner or you've never heard the word business before in your life, there's a pathway to owning your own business through Farmers Insurance Agency led by Mark Lee.
That's right. You can become a Farmers Insurance business owner even if you've been homeless in the past, just like you.
Yeah, thanks.
If you've ever dreamt of being your own boss, building a team under a reputable brand, and making a difference in your community by offering top-tier auto, home, and commercial insurance to consumers and businesses in your area, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the godlike man himself, Mark Lee, has the perfect opportunity for you.
Visit insurancecareerstl.com to speak with Mark Lee, the district manager of Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, to become a Farmers Insurance agency owner today.
Did you hear that, St. Louis? Go visit insurancecareerstl.com. Insurancecareerstl.com. That is INSURANCE, career, CAREERSTL.com.
To become a business owner today. Again, one more time, visit insurancecareerstl, as in St. Louis.com today, right now, this second, or reach out to us at stlouispodcast.com and we'll introduce you to Mark Lee ourselves. And I promise he won't spell out insurance and career to you.
Now back to the show.
But that's the thing. It's so almost like you have to find out. You got to dive in. You just got to find out, man. You don't know. You really don't know where you're going to sell best until you're actually in there. And then you realize, okay, we're not selling. Then you go speak to the guys and say, what can we do to improve this? Oh, you might need to come out and vend more samples. Great. We vend. Then all of a sudden we start doing that for 3 months. And now, you know, your customer base that's coming in weekly has tasted us 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
And now they're starting to say, oh, we love the product. Boom. So there's a great answer to kind of get over that hump is if no one's purchasing it, sample. Just go give out free samples, you know, and people will start to buy it once they taste it. Because once you taste this product, you realize the difference between it and jerky, and you start to sense, wow, this is just a better option, and it's only $7.99.
Yeah,
So-
they kind of, sampling used to be a common thing.
Yes, and no one does it today.
I don't, you know, I remember Deerberg's Schnooks.
Yep.
And I haven't, I guess I haven't been to Sam's in forever. I go to Costco, but I guess Costco still has some samplers. But like Deerberg, Schnucks, none of those guys ever have samplers anymore. Giving
No.
out anything.
No, nothing. I'm one of
We
Except
get a
that
lot
one-
at Schnucks with alcohol brands.
Yeah, I was about to
no,
say
alcohol
alcohol's
brands
the
for
only
sure.
one.
But,
Yeah.
but it's
Only
because
one.
they've got the sales for them to come out and
Yeah.
you know, who cares? I'll just dump a whole bottle of tequila in samples. You know,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
don't care about that. You know, I
Yes.
think it's because some companies are so small they don't get that traction as fast as they think. So they're like, man, I can't go and waste 300 bags, you know, over a 90-day period of sampling. I need those 300 bags in GP for myself.
Sure.
So it's like that could be an issue for some of these guys, but I think the bigger brands, I'm 100% with you. They do not sample. I mean, they don't ever come out.
It doesn't
seen-
make any sense to
Yeah,
me.
it doesn't make sense because especially if you're a new product to the market, especially international products, I mean, it is paramount that you are out there almost every day sampling out to people so that they know who you are and you're out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And ever since we did that with our stores, I mean, now it's just,
Especially if you have a good product.
yes.
You hit one person, you could probably figure out the math on this if you're in business long enough. You give one free sample, you know that person's going to tell X amount of people or purchase X amount of bags based off of that one free sample.
Exactly. And on that statistic, that's why I'm trying to connect with Levi restaurants. They are the ones that pretty much run all the food in the soccer stadiums. So if anyone from
Okay.
Levi restaurants is listening, it would be great because we're feeding all the Major League Soccer athletes. So it would be nice if we could feed
There we go.
the customers and crowd too.
Yeah.
But that's a great example of it, right? So there would be a great spot for us because, you know, every American comes with an international friend and that international friend will know our product before we even, they just know our product. They know what the word Biltong is. They know who we are. And they'll bring that American friend to give it a taste. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Sampling out to them is great.
Hell yeah. All right. You want to get into Trump?
Let's get it.
Let's get it. All
Wait,
right.
wait. Before we get into Trump.
All right. You got something else?
Yeah, let's talk about, so you're.
Come on, I want to talk about it. No, just kidding.
Okay,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
chill out,
No,
chill
go
out,
ahead.
I'll
Go
let
ahead.
you get there. You're marketing this as like a healthy product, obviously,
Yes.
but beef jerky, air dried steak, they're all red meat.
Yes.
We talked about this a little bit before the podcast. I guess, what are your thoughts on the beef with red meat?
As in a good thing or a bad thing?
So a lot of people think that red meat's bad for you.
Yes.
Help me out, Eric. You're the one who brought up the study, or you were talking about it.
What? We talked about red meat earlier.
No, was that on the podcast, or was it before the podcast?
No, we talked about it on the pod, dude.
I personally
Get
think
with the program. We
Yeah,
already
that
talked
was
about
the
this.
first question you guys talked about.
Wait, your mic's off, Matt.
That was the first question you guys talked about.
Your
was
mic's
the
still
red-
off, but yeah, we heard you.
Oh, well, okay, then never mind.
Uh,
We talked about so many things before the podcast. I got completely.
so yeah, we. By the way, if you think red meat's bad for you, just go listen to Joe Rogan. Come on, people, get with the program.
Joe
But
Rogan.
that doesn't mean
No,
don't eat your vegetables. You know,
correct,
again, you
correct.
know, I'm on this like almost like a kind of offense, but I'm saying that red meat definitely needs to be more in your diet. I think almost everybody needs to put a little bit more red meat into their diet. Definitely throw vegetables in there. I'm not saying don't.
I
eat
feel like we
vegetables.
don't have. Most people don't eat enough protein.
Not at all. I mean, in any way, any
Yeah.
sense. I mean, we will rather go to the liquid of protein shakes before
Yeah.
we start to eat meat. It has got
Yep.
pretty nuts how people are like refusing the red meat aspect, but
Mhm.
I think that turnaround has come. Personally, it's just looking in the market and seeing how the sales are going. I just think that turnaround's come.
Well, I've talked about steak on the podcast before. Favorite food of all time.
For me too.
If I could have steak for, I mean, I guess I could for every single meal of the day, I wouldn't be unhappy.
No, and you'll feel great.
Yeah.
Like that's the great thing about it is, again, I'm not saying don't eat your vegetables. I'm not saying broccoli doesn't have a lot of protein in because it does, naturally, but you got to eat a whole bag of broccoli to get the same amount of protein
Yeah.
as a 6 to 8 ounce steak. So
Mhm.
I think that's where I lean towards. I look at what can I eat the least amount of but gain the most
Yes.
nutritionally. That's what I look at no matter what.
So red meat is, if you look at it by weight, it holds the most nutrients out of anything else.
Pretty much. Yes, correct. I 100% believe that. Yep.
Yep. So there's your answer, Chris. Red meat's great for eat your red meat.
Okay, talk about Trump.
All right. So Trump came in Super Tuesday and just dominated Nikki Haley. Thank God. She sucks. So we have a guy from South Africa here with us. You said you've been through 3 presidents now.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, what's your take as an outsider for most of your life, now living here, what is your take on American politics from, let's just say, when you got here up until now?
Yeah.
What's going on? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so we got to start where I came from, right? South Africa, third world country.
I was about to actually, let's start there.
Yeah.
What are the politics in South Africa? How the hell does that work?
As corrupt as could ever be.
Okay.
I mean, it's, that's the unfortunate thing about South Africa. It's the most beautiful country. The way I like to explain South Africa to you is a Colorado with a beach. It's awesome. It's the most beautiful. And Cape Town just got named the most touristic city, I think 2 or 3 times over the last 4 years.
I've always heard that it's unsafe though. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
This is, when you're a true South African, you're going to tell the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying? It's both ways. You can't ignore the bad because it's so bad that you can't ignore it. So South Africa, when Nelson Mandela came in power in 94, he kind of ended the Racism Act that they had called apartheid. That was the worst time, the most racist act that's ever hit Africa, I think, as far as I know. When that ended, we got warned back then already in 94, when I was born. They said, you guys are running out of water. You're running out of electricity. You guys need to get more capital, more investments. You need to start just dumping money into your land and into your infrastructure, roads, the glass industry, the clothing industry. We need to increase our industry. That didn't happen. So over a 20-year period, we've gone to complete timeouts almost every 6 hours now. Every household is going through this, not just one or two. Every single South African household is going through hours and hours of timeouts every day.
Holy shit.
Businesses are crashing because of it. I mean, you're going to now have to go and spend thousands of dollars or rands.
The generators and
Exactly. So restaurants can't keep up, local business can't keep up, and now we have to go internationally to get all these products, which is killing us.
Yeah, you got no money.
We got no money. So I've watched a democracy with no capitalism go from an amazing country and go from so much potential to where Trump even wanted to come into South Africa when he was in power and start helping out the country, to now multiple timeouts every day. The crime's at its absolute peak. Racism is at its absolute peak. They're killing one white farmer every 5 days. I think 1 in every 4 people have AIDS. And as
Holy shit.
And again, these stats are close. So I might not be 100%, but I'm very close on these statistics. 1 in every 7 women, I think, as far as I know, get raped. And almost every tourist that comes in, or anybody that visits South Africa for longer than 60 days, is going to have something happen to them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's on a low level or whether it's on a high level. It's going to happen to you. Something like a wallet getting stolen or just something small. It's going to happen to you. You guys stick out like a sore thumb when you guys come to South Africa. You guys can't almost act like a tourist there. But that is the bad. But again, I'm not saying that it's not changing, and I'm not saying South Africa's not putting stuff in place to try and better the country and look for help. Like, I know they've just got a deal with Russia, India, and China all came together with South Africa, and they're looking at helping out the infrastructure and helping out the roads. And I know they're doing this in Kenya and Nigeria already.
So why doesn't the United States care?
They did. Okay. I think they just didn't want to get in bed with Russia, China, and India all at once. And the only problem is that China is helping all the infrastructure in Kenya and in Nigeria, but the only problem is they building the roads, building these railroads and all this. But they're dropping a Chinese shop there and a Chinese shop there and a Chinese shop there, and they're killing the local business. This is something that they're not talking about on the news, that every time you ask China for help, they're going to now put Chinese shops everywhere. And they're going to take your clothing industry. They're going to take your any industry they can get in. They will just take it. So, and this is the problem that we're starting to face. It's something that we got warned about 20 years ago, and we didn't listen. And unfortunately, the country is not looking too good. But it is the best country to visit. And this is the opposite to this, is that it is the most.
So should I go visit then?
Yes.
That's okay.
100%.
How do I not get robbed or stabbed?
Don't definitely travel with a South African or have like a tour guide with you. But I after a certain time, don't go outside and just go for a 2-mile walk or run, or I would say after 5, after 6.
Really?
Yes, 100%. When it starts to get dark, it's
done.
Got to be very careful. It's got to a stage where I can confidently say I don't think during the day or night there is a 1-mile stretch that a woman can run on her own in South Africa, and that's
holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident in saying that, or else I wouldn't say it.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's a great country to visit. Let me tell you, if you want to go ride a giraffe, go ride an elephant, go ride an ostrich, you can only do that in South Africa. You want to go shark diving at the absolute whale diving, you can only do this in South Africa. You want to go see the best mountaintops with the most beautiful white sand beaches like a Mozambique. or like a Cancun.
Yeah.
I mean, you get this in South Africa. You're not going to get that holiday experience like you do in South Africa anywhere else.
Yeah.
So tourism-wise, we are the best apparently.
I'm surprised one of these big companies just didn't start dumping money into there.
I think they will on the tourism aspect, just like Cancun now is dumping a ton of money
why
into
isn't
security.
Carnival or all of those guys just dumping money into it?
It's because of the crime. We need to figure out the crime. We need to figure that out, and I think South Africa's taking that very serious, just like Mexico, Cancun is now. They're dumping, I think, like I read something crazy, like millions of dollars have been dumped to Cancun just to make sure security and police are out policing these areas because the tourism now in Cancun is almost outrageous. So for South African Cape Town to be even bigger than Cancun, I mean, it's pretty nutty. So, yeah, security. If we can just get more police cars out there, more security for the internationals that comes over for a quick visit, I think we'll be A4 way.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, now the U.S.
Yes. Okay, so we came from South Africa, right?
Yes.
Came here in 2015. First, Obama was president. I didn't get a full term of Obama, but I got, I think 2015, he ended in 2016?
Yep.
2016.
Sounds right,
So I only got a year of him. I don't really have too much to judge on there. I think he was a great image for the country. I think having the first black president needed to happen. And I think it was a good testament and example of what a black president can do in this country. And I think he did quite a lot. I'm not going to say that he did anything bad. I'm not just going to stay neutral on Obama. The only thing is then Trump came in and then I saw the country boom.
Yeah.
This is just what I saw. I saw gas get under $2 a gallon. I saw meat sitting under $2 a pound. I saw everybody's bank accounts having an extra $6,000 to $7,000, if not $8,000 in it because we weren't spending $600 a month on gas.
Yep.
And I started seeing things that I was like, oh, so this is what the first world country feels like. This is what it feels like. Everybody has got one job in a household, takes care of the house, that gets 2 cars and can take care of a whole family, right? I saw that with Trump. I was expecting to see the same thing when Biden came in. I thought that he had some great points. I thought that he was like, hey, we've had this radical right, that's very conservative, that's very patriotic, very American, which I fully understand why you guys would vote that into as your president because that's what you want. But then I was like, you know what? Let's give the Democratical side a chance here. I mean, haven't gone through a full term of the left.
Yeah.
And what do you say here? What do you say? And I'm not, again, I don't want to sit, I'm on the fence with this because Bud Light made a very, very big error trying to pick sides. So I don't want to pick sides in that sense, to bash my own brand. But what I am going to do is say that I take statistics, results, and facts. I look at them, and then it's same in the jerky market, same with how I sell. I look at all the stats and facts, and then I come up with my own conclusions, and then this is what I'm going to personally say. I think that unfortunately Biden hasn't done what he said. He's completely destroyed. I mean, the moment he closed those pipelines and now we had to start going elsewhere for our own oil, I mean, that was the indicator of just like he doesn't want America to do well. He wants us to go elsewhere for money. He opened the borders.
Hold up, wait a minute. Those pipelines he closed, they weren't bringing oil to America. They were going through America.
Through America, yes.
To be shipped away to other countries. Like that's what the pipelines were for.
And closing that though immediately increased the gas price. Immediately, it went up $1 within days, weeks. It was like boom. So there had to have been some
Gas also hit its lowest when we were in the middle of COVID. The massive global pandemic that Trump massively mishandled. Exactly. But everybody's like, "Hey, gas was so low." It's because we were in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And then now we're trying to rebuild after COVID.
It was low before. It was low before COVID.
It was 172, I think, with Trump. I think that's the highest I saw the gas price get with him. I mean, it was pretty low, bro. It was very low. The thing with Biden.
But yeah, he fumbled with COVID for sure.
Yeah, he fumbled.
But
100%.
The problem is I would like to see how anyone else would have handled that situation.
And that's why I don't even bash Biden on how he dealt with COVID, because at the end of the day, COVID was such a new thing that happened to the whole world, and no one knew how to even do anything regarding COVID. No one even knew, should we actually go outside? Should we not go outside? Who do we listen to on the news? Now we found out the news wasn't telling the truth the whole time. So it's like, what do you do in a situation like that? I don't think anybody knows. So I think whether it was the left, the right dealing with it, I mean, it's over, right?
Yeah.
It's over. It's over. We're all alive. We're still here. For the people that have lost their life, obviously, condolences. But we're still here. We've survived. We got through it.
They just said treat it like the flu.
Exactly.
A couple weeks ago, the CDC or World Health Organization, one of those guys.
Yep.
So now we're sadly back to literally what people have been saying for years.
Yep.
It's so odd.
But again, if something like that does hit, I mean, bro, we got it. If a disease hits us that's killing people as fast as they were saying in the beginning, I mean, you do need to take that seriously.
Yeah.
You do. You have to. You have to take every measure possible to make sure that we're just not killing 20% of our population overnight. So I think that scare initially was warranted for 3 months, maybe to 6. But then after that, I was like, why did our immigration office only open 25% for 2 years and my immigration got paused for 2.5?
Mm-hmm.
You see, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is the stuff that they don't talk about. People like us that do everything right, we came in, but then all these internationals are pouring in and getting visas overnight. But someone like me that started a business, went through doctorate school, got a Bachelor of Science through your guys' education, won 7 national titles for America.
Yeah.
D1, 5 rings.
Yep.
And I can't get my immigration sorted for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I start to take the right side again. And I look at the stats and facts and say, man, they didn't help me. And I was the immigrant. I was the example of everything the Democrats said. We will help you. We will give you money. We will give you aid. Nothing. I didn't even get a stimulus check until I got my immigration, which was 2.5 years later. So it was like, bro, where was this aid that you guys spoke about? And that's, again, if the Democrats just did what, like, they helped with the student loans that they said they would, didn't really do that.
No.
I mean, if I know they gave some relief to some guys. I heard about that. Great, fantastic. Thank God they did something. But like, if they just helped and did what they said they would, I would 100% be on their train. Because I know at the end of the day, democracy is making sure that everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not going to be like
It
capitalism.
just seems right now America's not first.
And I don't personally like that, because ever since the Cold War, you guys have been number one for like 100
Well,
years.
just as an American citizen, like us thinking America's number one. Like we send money
you literally
out.
believe it.
Yeah, we're letting these people in. We're sending money, billions of dollars out of the country. And now we've always had issues internally that we just, for some reason, I guess it doesn't make our country any money by spending money on the issues that we have internally.
True.
Drug use or homelessness. There's a shitload of people that are poor in this country that don't have a lot, don't have anything for family after family, generations through. But for some reason, the interests are not with the American people right now. And I think that's coming to fruition. Yeah. And the funny thing is, and it's not even funny, it's just interesting how somehow Trump draws those people in.
Yes.
And is it because, do you think he's more American first than everyone else?
100%.
Okay.
And that's what it is. I think at the end of the day, that's what you need for your own country. I wish someone stood up
that
for
why
South Africa like that.
Yeah.
I literally wish someone stood up and said, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this.
Is that why they don't want him to win?
I would think so.
Because globalization isn't winning. Like, he doesn't want globalization.
I don't think anybody wants someone that's brash and out there and going to be saying from the hilltops, I'm the best, our country's the best. I don't think anybody likes this. And and this is just the competitiveness of our society that's turned. I mean, we used to have competition in every single place. Dude, I used to want to beat my friend just walk into class. Yeah. And now it's like, you do that now. It's like, why are you competing with me? We meant to be equal. And it's like, I just don't like that. I think that competition is the only reason things develop and things get better. It's literally competition. The only reason things get better, things evolve, is due to competition of wanting to better up whatever's been made already. So he's very competitive and he's very patriotic. So this is something that nobody, I think, is going to enjoy unless you're on his side completely. But again, if you don't have someone that is going to take your country first, I have lived in a country where they don't take the country first. Yeah. They are corrupt first. They take the money for themselves. They go get 7 wives as a president. No kidding. Go look up Zuma. 7 years, Mugabe, 7 wives. It's unbelievable, man. They go buy jets for their wives, but they don't go and help the poor. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. You need a guy up there that's going to help America first. And this is also something I don't think a lot of people know. Every country that has won a war, or like the Romans, back in the day when they used to rule the world, or the Egyptians, or during the World War I, II, if you go look, after America won the Cold War, which then pretty much gave them the outright to say, we're number one in the world, right? We can do whatever we want now. What did America go and do? They didn't destroy other countries like China does and most of Russia and most of Iraq. What did they do, bro? They go back to Europe and go rebuild Europe. Yep. They go over to other countries and rebuild and help other countries. You know what I'm saying? America is the only country that is seen in history to do this. And I think a lot of people don't know this. Everyone thinks that once you conquer, you just got to keep conquering.
Yeah.
America literally stopped and said, no, we're going to now go help the countries that have just been mauled. World War I, World War II, and a Cold War. All in what, 30 years?
Yeah.
And they did. The only thing is now
we're playing war games again.
We're playing war games again.
Yeah.
Because there's a shift in power, right? It's been 100 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's like this, who's going to get it again? And I think that's the problem right now is there's this little like, you've had the last century, now who's got the next century? And I think China's trying to get that one for sure.
Well, Russia's like them and Ukraine are about to go at it like full speed here.
And America wants this. They 100% want this. They've been trying to get to, as far as I've researched, it looks like there's this warm water port that Russia has, and Russia only has one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that all their imports come through that warm water port, not the other ones that are freezing and the ships can't even get there.
Yep.
And it's right across from where, as far as I know, NATO is trying to get into in Ukraine and start setting up a base.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Russia is going so hard, because they're like, we do not want you close to our warm water port. They don't want this. And I don't think media talks about this as well.
Well, they don't want someone on their doorstep with nukes that they can just launch 50 miles and then they're in Russia.
Yeah, I agree.
Or 10 miles.
Yeah, and
or 5.
I didn't like Americans helping other countries after they've rebuilt countries. Once they've rebuilt a country, get out.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've helped them, get out. You don't need to stay there. And I think this is the problem with Americans.
Well, we can make money with them afterwards.
It's politics. I mean, we're doing it to get power over their country.
Yeah, no,
and that's we don't conquer them just by taking them over anymore.
And that's why there's a fight right now for Africa, because once people realize the resources in these Middle Eastern countries, that's why they do this. They stay there because they realize the resources are so vast. They come into Africa and they start to realize, oh, this is untouched. The whole of Africa still doesn't have railroads. They don't even have huts, and it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's like you mentioned with China and South Africa, doing the railroad, but then picking up little
shops along the way, and then not giving them tariffs, but then giving everyone else tariffs. And then these guys don't have anything, and they can just go and swoop at any prices and undercut everybody in the local office. I mean, that's what happens.
China's like Amazon.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
That is,
they literally go and undercut everybody online.
Yeah, they just kill
because they can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Temu is literally Chinese Amazon.
Yeah.
Temu's such garbage trash.
Yeah. Well, why do you think they built it?
Yeah.
So to wrap up the Trump segment, because I do want to talk about one more thing before we get out of here. I just think it's odd that no one can look at Trump objectively. It's a lot of emotion, because everyone I talk to, for the most part, that doesn't like Trump, it's all emotion. It's like, I hate the guy.
I think it's because he was a TV star before. If he wasn't that TV star and he just
people just want to, I get it. People want him to act like presidential, right? And he's
not going to.
He's just not going to.
He's not going to.
Yeah.
Wasn't Nixon also a TV star?
I have no clue.
I don't know.
I know that I have a feeling that's what it is, because there was this, and I don't even think Trump could have become president without that TV.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely think.
I mean, he built a brand.
He built a brand.
Back to what we talked about earlier, he had a brand, Trump brand.
And what did he do? Brand. He didn't go and market and sell. He went brand straight to the top. I need to do that.
Yep.
And that is what I think is getting people, is that they look at him as like an actor and an actress, or a movie star and all this, before they look at him as a president. At all.
Yeah.
And even though he's run and done 4 years, they still looking at him in that perspective. Like it's pretty nuts. And I think the TV aspect of him kind of has leaked over, where now people think that, you can't take him seriously. He's not
Reagan, not Nixon.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Reagan was really well loved.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, Reagan was awesome, man. I'm also really liking, Independent?
JFK?
JFK, yeah, I really like him.
Or RFK, sorry. RFK Jr. Yeah, he's not going to win, but
no, awesome.
He's a badass, though.
Yeah, he's a badass.
So the Oscars, real quick. Did you guys see this? Did you guys see the Oscars?
No.
John Cena walked out on stage.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So all the comments were like he's selling his soul to the devil by doing this, essentially. Everyone's saying like they made him do this, like it's
pretty nutty
as
to
a punishment. Like everyone was saying that it was like a punishment, that the powers that be wanted to punish John Cena. But I was like, why would he ever agree? Like that is so embarrassing, dude.
Yeah, that was nuts.
And like anyone that like thinks it's funny, I'm just like, am I gonna be the woke one and say like, how is that not sexual, like anything harassment, assault, like everyone's just like, ha.
Oh, you know, a pedophile immediately.
Like, ha. It's like, it's not funny. It wasn't funny. It was like, it was a more literally, what the fuck is going on?
So as far as him doing it, I imagine they're like, hey, you know, you could do this or not, but if you don't, we're never going to invite you back for any awards. The Screen Actors Guild will probably be like, yeah, we just don't want to deal with you.
So is it the Oscars just trying to get, is it a marketing ploy?
It must be.
Is that it?
100%, yeah.
Because no one watches that trash shit anyways.
Yeah.
Their ratings have
No one
dropped
does.
so far, they're probably going to do literally anything, including gladiatorial combat on
Yep.
stage to not be a
That'd be
shit
dope.
show anymore.
I mean, it definitely went viral, but also
Yeah.
John Cena's like so insanely pro China and like
Yeah, he's
he
a
knows
he's really
Mandarin.
smart, bro. He's a really
bu-
smart guy.
He can speak Mandarin.
Yeah, which is nuts. I mean, for him.
No, he's a sellout.
yeah.
He's
damn,
not
that was-
America first.
I don't know. That was kind
Apparently
of
the
crazy.
WWE paid for like English or not English lessons, but
Mandarin.
yeah, second language.
For him to do that for the WWE because he was the biggest star at the time, and for him to say, "Hey, we need to go and collect on the Chinese market," and then to go and learn
Oh,
another
yeah,
language
smart.
in 2-3 years.
Yeah, smart.
I mean, that is genius for him to go. And he was the only one that did this. I mean, there wasn't many other guys that could do what he did. So
I just don't
and he had some
understand.
movies that did really well in China because of it too.
I just-
no, yeah, exactly.
I
Just
just
because
don't
he could
get
speak
it.
the language.
Why'd you go out on stage like that?
My thing is the guy's on the side, so he had a picture frame, as far as I know. Correct? I didn't
Yeah.
watch the Oscars.
Well, what's his name? Who I hate? The late night guy. Not
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Oh my God, Jimmy Kimmel, just fuck off, dude. He's so ugh. Even Jimmy Kimmel's face was like, whoa, like
Yeah.
what the like what is going on
that's
here?
crazy. Yeah,
Like he
it
was like, wow, we've crossed a new level here on the
Yep.
on the Oscars.
But I think TV has just got to that stage. I think that television has got so.
They're at like this side of the pendulum. It's like, bro, you guys need to start
It's
swinging.
insane.
You
It
guys
is
need to start
insane,
swinging
and
back. This is crazy.
I don't think it is. I think the only way it is like what what's his name?
Everybody wants fame, so it's just gonna get crazier and crazier.
No, it literally is. It's just the attention right now.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing because you got short
Yeah.
clips on TikTok, short clips
Yep.
on YouTube, short little photos on Instagram. It gets all the attention now. So it's like anything you can just do that's a second, it's gonna get attention. You're gonna do it. Like
yeah.
the thing is that what's his name? Adam Sandler. I know he created his own movie production.
Mhm.
I think that is going to be the new phase. You're
Yeah.
going to see small independent movie production companies coming out and doing their own thing where we can all go and tune in. I think that
Well,
these-
there's a lot of YouTube channels that are like that right now.
Yeah.
There's a ton of 20 and 30-year-olds that there's like a group of them, usually like 4 to 6 people making small production movies, short films, stuff like that on YouTube currently.
yes,
And it's
awesome.
professional quality.
it's awesome.
Shout out Corridor Digital because they do that, but also they
I was looking at Friday Beers. Or not.
There you
What is it? Something for Friday Beers or something like that.
well, that's
Dude, they're
fine. So the reason why I
hilarious.
brought
Their
up
stuff
Corridor
is
Digital
so
though is they got sucked into the algorithm too. So their vlogs started doing better, and their like outrageous, over the top videos started doing better. So they stopped focusing on high end production and started focusing on vlogs just to get views.
Yeah,
because
Gary
they started
Gary
getting money.
Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you guys know this, but Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about this now. He says that he's starting to see a turn in media because that dude's everywhere. He's
Yeah.
on every single media you can.
I
you
used
can
to
think.
love Gary Vee.
I have
And
kind
then
of
now-
changed a little bit as well.
I
Like
just find him,
he's repetitive now. He's been repeating himself a lot.
I was going to say, I just find him annoying now.
You can always
Yeah,
tell
my
when he
wife
has
says
a
the
new
same.
book because that's whenever he actually changes his,
yeah,
and then he just stays on that for the next
couple
year.
But he
weeks.
says the
and
same
then he's straight
exact
back to his
thing.
old ways. No,
He
Yeah.
says there's also stories of him trying to fuck over a lot of people and acquire businesses the wrong way.
wow. I haven't
If
heard
you,
about that
if you
yet.
look about
I'll
look,
look,
look
yeah.
it up online.
I'll check it for sure.
Yeah.
because I like sometimes when he says he said
He says good shit.
no, and he's right about some stuff. Like
Yeah.
he's right. I mean, you
I'm
know,
not going to hate on the guy. He's super successful. He's-
super successful.
yeah,
He
kills it.
kills it on
VaynerMedia kills it,
digital
yeah.
and all that. So
Yeah.
he's mentioned that it's starting to take a turn in a sense of people are getting over just seeing posts. They want to start seeing personal, almost like the VHS tapes are coming back, like almost
Mhm.
like those old school videos. Like if you can just get your, iPhone 10 out and just take like a random video of us right now, like this would kick more
Mhm.
than like if we had a production. Like look at the Kanye thing on Super Bowl.
That was insane.
That was funny.
That was dude.
Dude, that's funny.
Kanye, every single time I see Kanye, I'm either like scratching my head or I'm like,
I know.
is this
He's
guy?
a genius. Is he a genius or is he not? This is my.
He's a
like,
genius.
I think so too.
He's
I think
100%
he's
a genius.
one or the other. Like he's either not, and he's just blatantly doing whatever he wants, and he's just hoping to God, or he's like literally thinking of all of the things that he can do like this.
He had to
so
in his
smart.
brain just be like, yo, I'm gonna record this
Yep.
in the back of a car.
Yep.
It's literally, this is gonna be great.
And it killed it.
It killed.
So I think you see again that simplicity and rather that personal video is going to start taking off because I think people are so over rubbish. That's just it.
Imagine like normal commercials. You've ever watched TV?
Yeah,
Bro.
bro,
It's
Yep.
tough.
it's tough.
All these pharmaceutical ads for like 30
Yeah,
seconds or a minute.
nonstop. And it's not worth it being on TV sometimes because a lot of people actually don't watch commercials. The only time they do is during the Super Bowl. That's why the Super Bowl is still worth it, even though it's
Yeah.
like millions of dollars just to get on for 15 seconds. It's
Yep.
still worth it because you have about
You have
200
so
million
many eyeballs.
Americans. Yeah, no, it's nuts.
You have so many
You have the whole
eyeballs.
country on you, bro.
Yeah.
The entire country.
Yeah.
It's pretty nutty.
NFL, talk
Yep.
about who does it right.
Mhm.
They kill.
Mhm.
They make more money than I think the next two in line. I
Yep.
think they make maybe not more money than the MLB.
Don't sleep on NASCAR though. NASCAR's up there.
Yeah, that's
NASCAR's
true.
viewership's pretty high.
That's
NASCAR's
People
been killing it lately,
sleep on NASCAR.
and especially with their.
Formula One.
Are they
too.
Drive to Survive or is that?
Well,
F1?
NASCAR needed to rebrand. They've slowly gone through a rebrand because I remember in like the late
They had to.
90s, early 2000s, it was all like everyone just thought of them as,
A car that
country
turns left.
boys.
Yeah, or a car that turns
country,
left.
it's just
and that's
country.
It.
It's
yeah.
Budweiser drink. It's those guys.
yeah.
It's those guys that. that have-
No. They've actually gone through a huge change, and if NFL's obviously up there, it's always the Super Bowl's always going to be up there.
Dude, even turning left though, going 200 miles an hour is insane.
Good
and
luck.
those guys are
Good luck.
centimeters apart or rubbing going that fast. That's crazy.
Yep. And
Imagine the concentration to do that
these
for
guys are
hours.
really, really good at what they do. I think
100%.
people sleep on how good a Formula One driver is, how committed they are, as well as NASCAR guys.
I was
These
just
guys are
watching
so
the F1
committed.
race this weekend because it was just on.
Yeah, it's
Those
cool.
guys, and I
I
was
love it.
I used to watch a lot more racing, and I've almost kind of fell out of love with racing. I don't know what happened, but I've been playing Forza again. The new one just came out like a couple months ago. It's free on Game Pass.
Yep.
And I've just been rocking some cars, getting back into
fun.
racing, and then of course F1 was on TV, and I was like, ooh,
There we go.
let's go.
Yeah. And St. Louis is getting pretty big on the racing aspect. I know the Worldwide Tech Stadium, or not the Worldwide Tech. Is it the Worldwide Tech Stadium?
Worldwide Technology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've got a huge.
they got the both Indy and NASCAR coming
the
here now.
series that comes through. So,
Yeah.
and I think as far as I know, the Bomarito family, John Bomarito, they've been
Yep.
pushing the NASCAR series pretty hard in the
Yep.
St. Louis area. So, I mean, that's a generation of car people that have been trying to push this.
That family,
family.
family does well.
Yeah, they do really well. So it's awesome to see that people are pushing that in
I'm
St.
so
Louis.
glad that they brought that here.
Yeah, I'm really glad.
That was
It's-
like that. They led that way to get that done because Worldwide Technology for a while was like
nothing.
really wasn't being used.
No, it was literally just sitting there.
Yeah,
So for him to bring back a whole series and to now look at how we can bring back as much as we can to
Yeah.
St. Louis, I think that's someone that's not really been doing that. So it's
I wish
awesome.
we had a road track right around St. Louis.
Yeah.
Sadly, we don't. All right, let's wrap it up here. Before we get out of here, what would you like to tell the audience? Where can they find you?
Yep. So we got the 4 stores up in Straubs, Clayton, Town and Country. We're down in St. Louis and Webster Grove. And then we're on the corner of Delmar with United Provisions. You can also catch us online on our website. That actually helps us the most because it's almost like going direct to the consumer. So
Yep.
it helps us by far the most when you buy online. You can check us on biltongbilly.com. And then we're feeding all the Major League Soccer athletes, all the Olympic soccer athletes right now on all their camps. We are partnership with Flick USA. They're one of the biggest hospitality groups out here. Compass Group owns them.
Okay.
They are huge, and we're in Bayer Pharmaceuticals. So we're feeding all the pharmacy guys over here at Creve Coeur. And, we've got to give a big shout out to a couple guys. Jared Phillips, he's been helping us out at the MLS, getting us in there and helping us in the Olympic team. So thank you so much, Jared. It's been awesome, and I definitely owe you a beer. He's the performance coach for the soccer team. And
Nice.
then obviously always Brad Cornell, the head coach, putting in the hours, making sure this team is as good as they are. This is great to see. And to be honest, I think my biggest thing that we need currently for the business is people to just know that we're here.
Yeah.
If people can just take a look at our product, give it a taste, find me on the streets when you can, and literally come and sample some when I'm either at the stores or at these big St. Louis events that are coming up, and especially at Huck's Food and Fuel. Give it about 3 or 4 weeks and we should be in all 131. And then hopefully we'll be in all 1,100 Amcon distributing stores as well. But that's where you can catch us. And yeah.
Hell yeah. Congrats on all your success.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, that's another week in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, how'd you like this week? You had a good time?
I enjoyed it, yeah.
All right.
Except for apparently I got lost halfway through the podcast.
Yeah, this guy brings up a question we talked about at the beginning of the podcast.
I hope we go back and we were wrong.
both of us were like, what the fuck? We already talked about this, bro.
I'll go grab some beers with you guys and we can have that chat for sure.
Yes. All right. So as always, we'll be back next week, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time with a new episode, new guest, and more of myself and Chris here. If you're watching live or later, we said something wrong, we said something you hate, or said something we want to hear more about, blah, blah, blah. Jeez. We talked about politics today, so I'm sure some of you guys are going to be upset. Leave a comment, send me a message if you want to come on the podcast and debate. Go ahead, like, subscribe, send it to a friend that also hates our takes. That will be great. Finally, we recorded this episode again at the small desk here at Half Coast Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're looking to start a podcast or take your current podcast to the next level, whether you're here locally and you want to record in-house on the small desk, or you just want them to help with distribution, you can find them at halfcoaststudios.com. All right, it's been a pleasure talking with you and pleasure hosting this podcast for the people of St. Louis. We'll see everyone again next week. Thank you.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our sponsor, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee. Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance is recruiting agency owners here in St. Louis.
That's right, Garrett, and everyone knows what Farmers Insurance is, and if they don't, they will now.
Yes, it's kind of a household name. That said, as many of you know, a large part of our audience is made up of badass business owners, entrepreneurs, and top producing sales professionals with an open mind like yourself. Farmers Insurance is currently searching for driven individuals who aspire to own their own business or already own their own business and want to add another income stream to join the Farmers Insurance brand and own their own insurance agency.
This is a stellar opportunity to build your own insurance agency from scratch, take over an existing agency, or if you're just a slow roller, we know you the guys out there and ladies, get paid to train under an existing successful agency owner before starting your own.
Holy shit, Eric. That means that whether you have experience as a business owner or you've never heard the word business before in your life, there's a pathway to owning your own business through Farmers Insurance Agency led by Mark Lee.
That's right. You can become a Farmers Insurance business owner even if you've been homeless in the past, just like you.
Yeah, thanks.
If you've ever dreamt of being your own boss, building a team under a reputable brand, and making a difference in your community by offering top-tier auto, home, and commercial insurance to consumers and businesses in your area, Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the godlike man himself, Mark Lee, has the perfect opportunity for you.
Visit insurancecareerstl.com to speak with Mark Lee, the district manager of Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, to become a Farmers Insurance agency owner today.
Did you hear that, St. Louis? Go visit insurancecareerstl.com. Insurancecareerstl.com. That is INSURANCE. Career, CAREERSTL.com.
To become a business owner today, again, one more time, visit insurancecareerstl, as in St. Louis.com today, right now, this second, or reach out to us at stlouispodcast.com and we'll introduce you to Mark Lee ourselves. And I promise he won't spell out insurance and career to you.